Yeah, I said fire a client. Hi, my name's Devon. Today I own several multi-million-dollar companies. We started with $5,000 in a credit card. I don't know the easy way. I only know the hard way. Welcome everybody to the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Devon Dickinson, where I give straightforward advice for the entrepreneur and all of us. And today I want to talk about when we want to fire a client. Yeah, I said fire a client. And this is so hard for entrepreneurs, right? Because if you're an entrepreneur, you're very ambitious and you want to make everything work. And obviously, a client means money, right? And that's what we're taught. And especially in those first few years, you will do anything and everything that you can to get a new client. And the thought of losing one, the thought of letting one go is terrifying, much less firing a client. And again, I said firing a client. So I'm not talking about the client fires you. I'm talking about you look at someone who's paying you a check every month or every time you do a service and saying, I'm letting you go. We're no longer going to have a business relationship. Go find another vendor. And this is a foreign idea for so many of us, including myself. And let me kind of provide some context here. I was just talking to a good friend, and we were talking about how his wife owns this company, and she's rocking and rolling and taking on new clients and growing and having this great energy. But it seems like every time they sit down to have coffee or have a nice dinner or a date night, and the subject turns to business, all of this incredible energy and, these 80% of her clients that she loves, we don't hear anything about. We don't, they're not talking about it. They're not sharing about it. She's not, enjoying, the accomplishments. But really what she's focused on is this 15, 20% of her clients that are just dragging her down and frankly probably aren't profitable and, make you wake up at 2 a.m. And I know if you're an entrepreneur right now, there's clients that are popping into your head. There's names popping in your head. And even as I'm speaking of this, something's going off in the back of my head. But we do this because we're entrepreneurs and we don't want to let anything go. We want to make everything a victory. And that's a great spirit. But what happened to me, I'm going to share you a story with you that I had been an entrepreneur and was starting to have some good success. And, started, maybe get a little too big for my britches and a little too arrogant, maybe started to bully some of my vendors. And I think we all do this at times. And some, don't get me wrong, I think you need to have a very professional vendor relationship and you need to challenge your vendors. You need to always question pricing. But this particular vendor, we'd had some back and forth and I felt like, I'm like, I got that vendor exactly where I want them. And now they're going to bend to my will and charge what I want and do what I want. And the next thing I know, I got this letter. I opened it up in the mail and and they said, as of, the 31st of this month, we will no longer be providing XYZ services to your ABC company. And I was like shocked. I'm like, wait, are you firing me? Like, I'm the customer. You're the vendor. You can't fire me. I fire you. And I was like, at first I was like, kind of all huffy and puffy. And then as the day went on, like I couldn't stop thinking about this. And I'm like, oh crap, what am I going to do now? This vendor does a really good job for me. I've got to now go get another vendor that's going to do as good of a job. I've got to train them up. I've got to get them to perform at the same level that this other vendor was. And I started realizing that, I didn't treat them the way that I would want to be treated in business. It wasn't a professional business relationship. I had gone too far and I had pressed my vendor too far and they fired me. Like an incredible lesson. What a great lesson. Because anyways, I'm embarrassed to say, but I ended up crawling back to the vendor, apologizing, getting them back. And from then on, we had a terrific relationship. They continued to do a great job for me. I continued to demand excellence, but it was professional, right? And we had a very professional relationship. But what a great lesson for me, because I began thinking to myself, and I pulled my team together and I told them the story, humbly told them the story with egg on my face, and said, listen, let's think about the customers that we have, right? And the first thing that happened is all of my customer service department literally just threw up all of these names on the board. And I was like, okay, well, let's really start dissecting these names, because some of these customers are being a pain in the butt because because we're not doing as good of a job as a vendor as we should. And so, if you kind of open up the floodgates here, people want to like just only do easy business. And that's not what I'm suggesting here. I'm not suggesting to shy away from the difficult customers that are kind of hard to please because they're demanding and they expect excellence, because they should. They absolutely should. And so, my customer service department got a tongue lashing. I'm like, no. We're not firing the customers that are just a pain in the butt. We're firing the customers that we're doing a great job for, but they will not respect us. They do not pay us what we need to be paid. They ask too much. They demand too much. And we end up having a lose-win business relationship. I'm not talking about the customers that are a good customer, but just demanding that we do our job and we're underperforming on our job. Shame on us. We need to get our act together. But I'm talking about those customers out there that literally are taking advantage of the relationship. Because if you have 20% of your customers that do that to you, just think if all 100% of those customers did that to you, you would be out of business. And so as an entrepreneur, you have to have the discernment on when you decide to approach that customer, clearly let them know that this business relationship is not fair, is not working professionally, and either renegotiate, reestablish the rules, reestablish the SOPs, your service level agreement, SLA, whatever you need to do to reestablish it and right side it. And that should be where you start. Rather than just trying to fire them immediately, we need to try to reestablish that service relationship, SLA agreement, whatever you want to call it, to get it professional and be a win for me and a win for them. It can't be a win for them and a lose for me, or a lose for me and a win for them long term. You're going to have points in your relationship where you'll win and they'll win and like that. But long term, it's got to be a win-win. It can never be a win-lose long term. So what we did is we took that list, we narrowed it down to probably more. It was like, because originally they put like 35% of our customers up there. But once we whittled that list down, it got down to about 15% of those clients. And once we started looking at those clients, literally all 15 of those were bad deals for us. It was a win for them, a lose for us, and nothing was changing. And so we went to all 15 of those and we explained it like very clearly. Here's what happened. Probably about half of those immediately overnight recognized that. We were able to renegotiate SLAs. We were able to renegotiate pricing. We were able to renegotiate whatever needed to happen. So now we're down to, maybe 8%, 9% or whatever, that we're still a pain in the butt. Well, that particular group of customers we had the conversation with, or they wouldn't allow us to have the conversation because they just kind of closed us off, wouldn't take our calls, wouldn't answer our emails, just literally demanded, continued demand. And so that particular group, we did the exact same thing that happened to us. We sent them a breakup letter. It was very professional. It basically said, hey, after, X amount of time that we've done business, we've determined that this is not a mutually beneficial relationship. We wish you the best, but as of the 31st, our relationship will terminate. We will make as easy a transition as possible for the next vendor. And really, good luck. And we've enjoyed we respect our time and we respectfully wish you the best. About half of those 9% contacted us. And again, at that point, they were like, whoa, they did the same thing I did. They backpedaled. And now those particular folks are actually great clients, long-term clients, people we use as referrals. But that other, now we're down to like that 4 or 5%. That 4 or 5%, we kicked out. And we had the courage to let them go. And you have to have courage too, because like you think, well, I can't afford to lose that revenue. Well, you can't afford that revenue, because you're losing money. So it's not a matter of can you afford to lose that revenue. It's a matter of can you afford to have that revenue, because that 5% is costing you more than and whether that's in actual dollars or brain power or manpower or whatever that is, they're costing you more than you're getting. So if you kind of do the math that I did, you're going to start off, like I said, 35% of the people are what they're going to want to kick out. After you whittle it down, you're going to find probably that it's less than 20% of your clients that are that big of a pain in the butt. Once you go through this exercise, think about it. Think if you could take out of 100 clients, think if those 20 clients, if you could do that exercise with those 20 clients, what happens to those 20? All of a sudden, like I said, when I did the math on that, about 15% of those turned up into great clients, and the 5% you got rid of. So now all of a sudden having a company where 80% of your clients are good, 20% of them you're kind of losing money or, it's a bad business decision to keep them. You literally have turned those 20% into 15% positive and you got rid of the 5%. What could that do for your company overnight? Listen, I like to give straightforward advice here. I know it's not easy, and right now you probably got all excited, and then once you thought about the courage of putting it up on your whiteboard and putting those 15% up there, those 20% or whatever it is, you got a little bit scared because that does represent real dollars. But listen, I'm going to tell you to have the courage to do it the hard way. It's the only way I know how to do it. I hope that helps you. Have a great day. I'm Devon, the Whiteboard Entrepreneur.